Well, hello everybody, welcome back. Here we are out under the stars yet again. It's an absolutely beautiful night here. A few clouds along the horizon, but not much else. Now, why am I here? Well, firstly, tonight is December the 14th. Yes, that's right, it's the Geminid Meteor Shower tonight. Now, I'm here in central Victoria in the southern hemisphere, and I can tell you from years gone by, the Geminid Meteor Shower has been a bit of a fizzer. Nearly every time that I've gone out, I hardly see anything. Now, I'm pretty sure that for you guys in the northern hemisphere, you'll get a much better show than what we get down here in the south. But anyway, nevertheless, I'm going to set up a time-lapse camera just over there in the back here and see what I can capture there. That's going to be shooting continuously. And while I'm here, I thought I would shoot some other areas of the night sky, because remember, we're talking about things to shoot when there's no Milky Way core visible. So in December, no Milky Way core. Now, where am I? I'm at the absolutely beautiful old Keystone gold mine ruin. Now, I have shot here once before, and it was probably about this time of year, probably a couple of years ago. It was summer, I know that for sure. So no Milky Way. Anyway, I'm going to do a bit of light painting and a little bit of shooting here. The Southern Cross is down there behind the mine, and this is pretty much all that's left of the mine. There's a few old brick pillars and things like that laying around here, but not a whole lot more than that. But nevertheless, this thing stands up beautifully, and it's a really good subject to have in the foreground, and there's a lot of rocks and old things in the foreground here. I'll light those up, do some light painting. We'll see what else we can get up to tonight here. Okie dokie, so this is where I've got my time-lapse camera, Nikon D750 with a Nikon 14-24 f2.8 lens. Now I'm shining it out over this, you can see in the background, there's some brickwork and just some ruin, part of the ruin of the mine here, which looks fantastic. And I always like to include a foreground interest in my time lapses. I've got a light over there, which is a low level light, just one single Z96 video light, and that's shining on this foreground. Now, I'm Gemini, Orion, I've got all of those constellations. I'm pretty much pointing up to the northeastern part of the sky. So I'm going to get this going, I'm going to leave it here, I'm going to go and do some other stuff over there. I'll come back, there'll be hundreds of images here. Hopefully we can capture some meteors. Okay, oh, by the way, I've got an intervalometer here plugged in. Hopefully you can see that. Just a cheap little eBay intervalometer, which is going to trigger the camera, and I've got it set to go indefinite. So it's going to keep going until I come back and tell it to stop. All right, let's get going. Okay, so you can see here I've set up on a light stand one of my Z96 video lights, and I've got it on its lowest level. That's all I need for this to work, because I'm lighting up that rock, or it's a rock sort of stonework over there, and rather than just have a silhouette, I'd like to have something. So I'll put this up on the light stand. It's pretty rigid, everything's looking great. So I'm going to go and see what else I can shoot out here and leave this baby running. Now, for my first composition here, I've set my camera up reasonably high. And one of the reasons that I've done that, I'm going to be shooting down towards the south and the Southern Cross, as I mentioned. But one of the reasons I put my camera up at a bit higher level than what I often do is just to try and square up this building. Now, I mentioned this last week in my video, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, when I was talking about wide angle lenses having that distortion on straight buildings. And so once again, I've lifted the tripod up a little bit with the intention of well, trying to alleviate some of that, at least as much as I possibly can. You can see the buildings, it's quite straight and high. So I'll try and do that. Now, I do also want to make sure it's not too high that I lose perspective on the foreground, but the horizon here is very low and very straight. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. So anyway, my plan here is to shoot 10 or 12 shots of the night sky to stack for noise reduction. So I'm using my Nikon Z6 here, the 20mm f1.8 lens. I'm going to shoot it at f2.2 or thereabouts, 10-second shutter speeds at ISO 6400. So it's a pretty standard arrangement there. That's for the background, no light, nothing at all yet. Then I'm going to stop down to f5, ISO 500, I'll leave the shutter speed at 10 seconds. I'm going to do some light painting. So this is my fine art light painting method. I'm going to light around the structure here, light the rocks. I'll try and show you a little bit of that as we go. I've had a lot of people ask me about light painting, and it is one of the most difficult things to actually describe to people. And it's really hard to film at night time and show you in real time exactly what it looks like. But I'll do my best. I'll take those shots of the night sky, then I'll come back to you guys and we'll do a little bit of light painting and we'll see how that goes. Okie dokie, so I'm going to try and walk you through this light painting. So one of the first things I will do is get off on a bit of about a 90-degree angle from the camera. So the camera's just here, so I'm going to walk over here, and my intention here is just to give a general light around the front of the structure. I'm not really lighting the structure up here, I'm just lighting the foreground here. And the reason I'm doing that is to give myself, I guess, a fallback shot. If something doesn't work properly, then I've always got that one to go back to. Because one of the traps you'll find when you're doing light painting is you're not sure sometimes if you've covered all of the angles. So that's what I do from over the front there. Then I'll go to the other side over here. Hopefully you can still see me. And I'll do pretty much the same thing. Just a general sweep of light across the front here. Just like that. These are separate exposures, by the way. So I know a lot of you are going to say, well, how much light do you put in? How long do you have this and how long do you have that? It is almost impossible for me to actually go through all of that because it varies depending on the light you've got. So if I have my light on a very bright level like that, then it's gonna make a whole lot of difference as opposed to a half level. Now usually I have my light on its lowest setting. So this is just a flashlight. You can see it here, it's just a torch. There's nothing bright about it. You do not need bright light for light painting. But anyway, those two shots I just showed you there before. Now I'm shooting those, remember, at f5, ISO 500, and it's a 10-second shutter speed. Now sometimes I don't use the whole 10 seconds. Other times I do. It just depends on what it is. Now one of the factors that comes into this is whether or not the subject is a bright color. So for example, on this gold mine, it's quite bright. It's a very reflective stone color. Now that makes a big difference as opposed to something that's a very dull, dark brown or something like that. It needs more light. So the darker the color of the subject, the more light it's going to need. All right, so I've got those two shots to fall back on. I'll show you some other stuff. All right, so as for lighting the actual structure here, I'm not going to light it from the front. I've talked about this at length. You know my thoughts about that. I am not going to light this from the same angle as the camera. What I'm going to do is make my way over here, which is a bit tricky in the dark. So sometimes it takes a bit longer than you expect. Anyway, I'm over here on a fairly extreme angle. And you can see when I light the structure, the light has a completely different character. And that's what we need to have. And it's very similar when I light some of these foreground bits and pieces like this. Now you can see here, I'm almost on top of it. So I'm just lighting down, and these gorgeous rocks and these concrete and there's these bolts, or I don't know what they are, they've got threads on them. That sort of stuff is just fantastic. But again, now the camera's over there, right? Where you are. If I light it like this, it's flat and dull and boring. No, I light it from behind, sideways, even on top sometimes. And that makes the shape, the light bends around and it looks so much better, believe me. Okay, now as far as this archway is concerned, you can see it's got steps there. Now what I've got here is, I don't know if you can see this, a Z96 video light on a little tiny tripod. And the camera, by the way, is over there. So the camera's just over there. So what I've got is this here. Now I can put it a couple of different ways. The way I did this particular shot though, I put it up the top like this, just down there, pretty much reflecting off this wall onto that wall, because I didn't want it too bright and I wanted it to give a glow. So you'll know from a lot of my videos that I like light to glow, especially light that's inside. So in this particular case, the light is this gorgeous orange because it's got the CTO gel. It's a full CTO gel in this particular case. So I guess I really do want you guys to get the picture and the message that this is art. I am creating art here by lighting in these different ways. It's not just a matter of throwing the light on and getting your phone out and shining it around. It's a lot more, I guess, strategic than that. And I think a lot about this, and I think I'd encourage you to do the same. The more you can put some thought and planning into your shots, the better the results are going to be. Okay, well, I have been pretty busy here with this light painting and working on these different compositions over here. But I have also been keeping half an eye on the northern sky and the northeastern sky, which is where the constellation Gemini is over here. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen any shooting stars. I have actually seen a few around in different other places in the sky. Nothing really bright though, but I've seen over towards the southeast and over in the west and pretty much straight overhead, but nothing much down there. Having said that, I've been fairly well occupied doing this other stuff. Hopefully that time lapse is capturing every moment, every meteor. I don't know. I never have great success with these meteor showers. I think I'm just too far south. But anyway, I'm going to have a look around and see what else I can find out here. Have a look at this. I found a windmill on this property, and anytime I find a windmill, I'm a very happy boy, I can tell you that. So it's got really windy here tonight, but have a look, it's not turning. It's swaying a fraction, but gee, it's good because I don't really like them when they spin. I prefer them to be rigid. So it's obviously seized up. But anyway, I've got Orion up there behind it, Taurus down a bit lower, Pleiades down right down near the horizon now, because it's, oh, I don't know, it's about 3:30 in the morning. So, oh gee, I've been chasing these meteors. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I've actually got any meteors, but I've got that time lapse. It's still putting away over there. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to shoot this baby and we'll see what we can get here. All right, well, that was a pretty successful shoot. Now, what I'm going to do is go over, have a good look at that time lapse, and I think it'll be up to about 600 or more images. So, and I don't know how the battery's going to be going, so I reckon it's just about time to pull the pin on that. Let's go and have a look. All right, let's have a look at this baby and see what we've got. Okay, so I've just stopped it with the intervalometer here. I'll just press stop and we have, oh gee, woohoo, about 630 shots. Oh, it looks great, looks fantastic. All right, so just having a quick look at that. And by the way, when I came back here, I noticed that my Z96 over there had fallen over, so the wind has got up quite a lot. And look, I should have put a log of wood or a brick or something. There's bricks everywhere around here, but it wasn't windy when I first set it up. But anyway, hey, these look pretty good. I can't go through every single image now and see if there's any meteors, so you will see this video shortly and you'll probably know before I do right now. But anyway, that's good, I like it. Oh boy, well, here we are. If you have a look in the background, I'm sure you can see that the dawn is approaching. The sky's lighting up down there. So I've been out here all night. Now, did I get any meteors? Well, I don't know yet. I saw a few streaking across the sky, but nothing of any great volume that I would have thought. But then again, I was concentrating on some other stuff, so I'm hoping that there's a few meteors in that time-lapse sequence. Anyway, you know it's getting close to sunrise when you see Venus lifting up in the eastern sky, which it is right now, just behind the old relic over there. Anyway, thanks very much for being out here with me. This has been my adventure out under the stars. No Milky Way core to be seen here, but I've had a lot of fun and it's been such a beautiful night. I just looked at my phone, it's 18 degrees. That's pretty warm, 18 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be about 34 or 35 degrees today, later on. So I'm going home to bed. I'm absolutely had it. I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a fantastic time. I'll see you then.